Hi, my name is Mark Sabi. I'm here to talk to you about new employee orientation. First off, let's talk a little bit about what new employee orientation is. It's your first opportunity to welcome a brand new hire to the fold, to bring them into your group and expose them to the corporate culture, to introduce them to the important things they need to know about HR, about processes, about procedures. What it's not supposed to be is their first day of training. To put this into the connotation of the hospitality industry, one of the biggest hurdles facing employers in the hospitality industry is a constant, never-ending turnover of their employees. One of the things that new employee orientation can do is to try to build some camaraderie and, if you will, get people to drink the corporate Kool-Aid on their very first day. The idea being that if you can acclimate them to the processes, to the procedures, while at the same time making them feel welcome and needed, and explain to them what their part in the great cog is, it will help them feel more included in the organization. One of the dangers you don't want is having your employees sitting in a big room with a large binder in front of them, having some HR drone go on and on and on about what forms they have to fill out in order to take a vacation, in order to ask for time off. You want to make sure that that kind of knucklehead stuff is something that can easily be explained by a coworker or is alluded to but not beaten to death during that orientation. New employee orientation should provide your people with an opportunity to have some fun. It should give them some interaction with coworkers. It should give them interaction with a supervisor. It should allow them time to ask some silly questions like, okay, where are the bathrooms? What time is my break? But at the same time, not make them feel like these are the hard and fast rules that you have to live by, and that's the way it is. So the article that I found is called Orientation versus Integration. It's by a woman named Susan Healthfield, who writes for humanresourcesforabout.com. And one of the things she talks about is some mistakes that are commonly made during new hire orientations. One of them is overwhelming them with facts and figures, and that's an easy thing to do if what you're doing is handing somebody a large binder and saying, here, go to town with this. You don't want to show them boring orientation videos. You don't want to provide lengthy lectures in front of the room, and you don't want to prepare them. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of corporate American businesses make is that the new person shows up for their first day of work. They have no idea where they're supposed to go, and neither does anybody that they come in to talk to. They don't have a desk set up for them. They don't have a phone set up for them. They don't have their email set up. Big mistake. As somebody walking into that new environment, you're certainly not going to feel like this place is embracing me with open arms. In one of my discussion boards, I spoke about my new employee orientation with a company called Leo Burnett. Leo Burnett, for those of you who don't know, is the largest advertising agency in the city of Chicago. Has been in business since 1935, and it was a pretty big deal to get a job there back when I did. My new employee orientation consisted of somebody handing me a rather small, like maybe inch binder that had some information in it, and we very briefly talked about these are the sections, this is where you can find this information. Now let's talk about some of the fun stuff. And they walked me through what holidays we had off. They walked me through what Apple Day was, Anniversary Day. Anniversary Day was August 5th every year, and what that celebrated was Leo Burnett opening his company. There's a legend that went on about how Leo Burnett opened his doors in 1935 during the midst of the Great Depression, and a newspaper reporter saw that a receptionist had put a bowl of apples on a reception table just sort of to brighten the place up, and he made a joke about how Leo Burnett by the end of the year would be selling those apples. Well, there are still apples on the desk of every single receptionist in the building, and they give away millions of apples a year. Anniversary Day, August 5th, every single employee got $1 for every year they were in business. Now, that may not sound like it's a pretty big deal, but when you consider that there's over 2,000 people working for Leo Burnett, and on their 75th anniversary, everybody got $75 in cash. That's kind of a cool thing. The best part of my employee orientation was they did show me a video. The video was Leo Burnett himself giving a speech, and the speech is become known as "When to Take My Name Off the Door." It was his retirement speech, and he was at one of their anniversary days, was going on about how now that he's gone, they may want to change the name of the agency, and he would be okay with that. But there might come a time when he would insist that they take his name off the door, and then he walked through the ideals that he felt were what made the company and why it was important and why people should live and breathe the Leo Burnett Company. And it honestly makes you tear up a little bit. Now, this is an absolutely great thing that Leo Burnett does, because right away it makes you feel included and like you're part of the organization. So, word to the wise there, I think. What else don't you want to do on Employee Orientation Day? Well, you don't want to not provide feedback to the HR people. So the employees themselves, the new employees, should be asked, what'd you get out of this? They shouldn't be rushed. In order for it to be effective, they need to meet their coworkers. They need to meet their supervisor. Ideally, perfect world, their supervisor should be involved in their orientation. Now, that's certainly not ideal in a lot of ways, and in many cases I recognize that this doesn't necessarily translate to the restaurant world. But look at it this way. You bring somebody new in, and you let them work that day with the chef. That is a way of making them feel included and being part of the group. One of the other things the article cautions about is that on several people's first day, they eat lunch by themselves. Well, the nice thing about the restaurant groups are that usually the family meal, everybody is included, and because it's family meal, there's an implication that everybody there is part of the family, and that's ideally what new employee orientation is supposed to do. I'm Mark Sabi. Thank you.